Welcome to the very first People Mover Travel Agency Roundtable. I am so excited looking at all these lovely faces. This is so exciting. This is something that people have heard me talk about Disney for 10 years now. They've heard me talk about the agency for so long. And what do I always say? They are the most amazing agents on the face of the planet. And this is finally a way for me to step aside so you can hear how amazing they are because they're the best. They are the absolute top, best of the best, top of their field. The advice you're going to get is probably worth millions of dollars. I don't know that to be true, but I'm pretty sure that's a fact. So we are going to give you tips and tricks. We are going to answer questions in all of these videos. So if you are already booked through us, you can sort of get to know your agent a little bit better. And if you're not booked through us, you're going to see why you should be booking your trips through us. So our topic today is halfway to Halloween. I'm going to step back and we're going to go ahead and get this off. I think Cheyenne and Haley, you're starting us off.
Well, thanks, Tyler, for that introduction. Hopefully, we live up to those, million-dollar rankings there. No pressure. I'm going to kick things off. My name is Haley Beckman. I'm one of the agents here at People Mover Travel. And like Tyler said, we're so excited to be talking to you all today about all things Halloween at the Disney parks. There's so much Halloween fun to be had across all the parks at both the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida and Disneyland Resort in Southern California. I'm sure we're going to get into it in more detail today with the rest of the group, but you can expect fun themed entertainment, decor, food and beverage offerings, select limited edition merchandise, and there are special hard ticket events available at both resorts as well. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party will take place on select nights from August 9th of this year to October 31st, Halloween night, at Magic Kingdom Park at Walt Disney World. And this year's party returns, with fan favorite entertainment like Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular Fireworks Show and one of my personal favorites, Mickey's Boo to You Halloween Parade. And Disney even announced that this year the parade will have an earlier start time. So if you're traveling with younger guests, it's a great way to get that piece of entertainment in before bedtime. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more today with some tips on traveling with little ones. Over at the Disneyland Resort, Oogie Boogie Bash is returning this year and will take place on select nights from August 25th also to October 31st. And that's actually the earliest that we've ever seen this party start. It's always a really popular celebration. We see tickets sell out really, really quickly. So definitely start planning for your Oogie Boogie Bash night now. This party takes place at Disney California Adventure Park, and it features frightfully fun entertainment, characters, overlays on attractions, and more. So definitely not one to be missed. We know as of today that tickets for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party are actually going on sale later this week to resort guests, and more information on Oogie Boogie Bash is still coming soon. They like to keep us on our toes there. Prices are going to depend on the night. Your travel agent can give you more information as you start to plan your visit, and that's probably a good segue into getting into your questions today. So let's get to the good stuff.
Thank you, Haley. My name is Cheyenne. I am going to be your MC extraordinaire for this afternoon, and I'm so excited to hear from all these beautiful agents. I think, like Tyler said, their advice is worth millions. So let's get to making some money. Okay, so we're going to start with a question. I'm going to send this over to our agent, Jordan. Jordan, in your opinion, what's the best? As Haley said, Halloween can start in August at the Disney park. So that's kind of a big chunk of time for Halloween. So what do you think is the best time within that few month period to visit for Halloween?
For me, I think it kind of depends on what your perspective is and like what your party mix is necessarily. If you're like the world's biggest Halloween fan, I personally like to go closer to the actual date of Halloween myself. Like, you just really get the vibes. Like you guys were saying, the Halloween festivities really start like earlier and earlier as the years go on. And so I feel like, not everybody's ready for Halloween in August. But there's definitely certain reasons why you might go in August. So like if from one side of the coin, if you are the world's biggest Halloween fan and you want to be there on Halloween night, then I would definitely say like going in October and enjoying like, the actual time of year is key. However, the party tickets do tend to be more expensive the closer you get to Halloween. You're also dealing with things like school fall breaks, and so it can be a busier time of year as well. So I think that if you're going at it from the perspective of you want to enjoy Halloween, but you might want to save a little bit of money, then going earlier in the season could be a better choice for you, especially just from the perspective of weather as well. If you're the kind of person that is not turned off by humidity or heat, then a lot of people tend to stay away from the parks in August and September for that reason. So you can enjoy lower crowds while also getting to experience all of the same party festivities.
All right. Next question we have from one of our followers, Bailey. This one is for you. They say, we've done Halloween at Walt Disney World. What can we expect at Disneyland? I thought this was perfect for you since you're our SoCal native.
Well, great. Yeah, I'm so excited about this. So, of course, as we've already touched on, one of the biggest differences between Halloween at Disney World versus Disneyland is that Halloween at Disney World starts like a month earlier. So, if you're used to being able to visit the parks in August and get all of the Halloween decorations, you can't really get that at Disneyland. It doesn't start here until September, but you can still expect very similar decorations, food, entertainment, and the overall just fall and Halloween vibes. One of the biggest differences is that while Walt Disney World offers Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at Magic Kingdom, California in Disneyland offers Oogie Boogie Bash at Disney California Adventure. So it's a special ticketed themed event themed after all of the Disney villains we know and love. And also the cool thing about Halloween at Disneyland Resort is that even though at Disney World you can only get Halloween decorations at one of the parks, you can get them at both parks over here. So it's really awesome.
Following up to that exact question, Arlena, I know that you've been to Mickey's Not So Scary and Oogie Boogie Bash. We had a question about the differences between those. So can you share what your thoughts are on the differences between the two?
Yeah, so like Bailey was mentioning, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in Florida takes place at Magic Kingdom. And in California, Oogie Boogie Bash takes place at Disney California Adventure. So that is a bit one of the biggest differences. Availability is also a big difference. So of course, like we mentioned, in Florida, we have a whole month extra to go to be able to go to the party. And so tickets don't sell out as fast as they do in California. I'm pretty sure last year, if I'm not mistaken, Oogie Boogie Bash sold out almost all their dates on the day when they came out. So that's something to keep in mind. And other differences, I noticed the treats. So in Florida, you are definitely going to get like full size like candy. In California, there was a little bit of a shift to more healthy treats. You did get some candy, but there was also like some carrots thrown in there. And so that was another thing. There's definitely, like Bailey was mentioning, there's a focus on more focus on villains in California. Just, I mean, the name itself, Oogie Boogie Bash, is like he's inviting all of his like villain friends. And so all the treat spots have a different villain. So like if you're in Avengers Campus, you're gonna get I think her name is Agatha from the Marvel universe, and like you're gonna get Bruno from Encanto, and you're gonna get what's the name of the bad guy from Toy Story, the Pixar. Like, so anyway, you get like different villains at all the treat spots. Not that you're not going to see the cute, Halloween, like you will definitely see Mickey and Minnie and all the Fab Five and their cute costumes as well. But I would say like those are the biggest differences. Entertainment, I think you do get a little bit more options in terms of entertainment in Florida. So you have the parade, you have a castle show with the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus. You get fireworks, you get the cadaver dance, you get the dance parties. In California, you do get a great parade as well, although I would argue the song is not as catchy as the one in Florida. Boo to You is just, the catchiest tune. And you do have dance parties and stuff like that. But I think in terms of entertainment, you're going to get more in at Mickey's Not So Scary.
And I'll add something. I know, Arlena, you mentioned healthier treats in California, but for anyone 21 or older, there's booze at Oogie
Oh,
Boogie.
that's right. Yes. Good point.
You guys are doing so good at naturally transitioning. It's like you saw my question sheet and you know exactly where I'm going next. This question is for Tyler because I know he wanted to talk about the entertainment. And we had a question come in of, do they do special Halloween parades or fireworks? And I know that this is Tyler's cup of tea.
Yeah, they go all out when it comes to entertainment. I think the entertainment for this show or for this party is the best entertainment they do. I know when Jessica and I have talked about it and we've ranked both the shows and we've ranked the parades, both have come in first place for the entire year. The let's see. Oh, I wrote them down because I knew I was going to forget them. So there's Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular Fireworks Show. They like very long names. That's the one where Jack Skellington comes out. And if you haven't seen it, don't look at it on YouTube before you go because I want you to see it in real life because it is wild to see. I think it's a puppet, but the guy's like, it's nuts. It looks so real and it's so tall and it's so crazy. And then there's like a bunch of Haunted Mansion stuff. That's where like the fireworks and all that kind of stuff. Then we have the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular, which I think is the best castle show they do all year. It is so good. The Sanderson sisters come out. They have Oogie Boogie come out. Dr. Facilier comes out and sings, and then like all of the villains come out. It is spectacular. And the three Sanderson sisters sing live, which is nuts because they're so good. Because it was almost an argument with me and Jessica. I'm like, there's no way they're singing that live because they're so good. It's definitely a track. And she's like, no, they're singing it live, and they're insane. They're so good. And then the Mickey's Boo to You parade, I feel like it's a very hot and cold topic to some people. I know there are some people even on this call who have spouses who will not listen to that song because it is such an earworm that it will get stuck in your head for a full month when you leave. So just fair warning, the parade is so good. It has like the fall harvest stuff, it has the Haunted Mansion stuff. It's so good, but that song, it's gonna get stuck in your head for probably about 6 weeks.
It's something. Hey, wait, Tyler, how do you know that they're actually singing in the Hocus Pocus live show? Like, how do you figure that
Well,
out?
Jessica ended up looking it up, and then I ended up watching a YouTube video, and it was like right in the front row, and you can see them. They are definitely singing live. I'm like, that's crazy. That's impressive.
I can jump in on that one real quick because my coworker, we were both face characters at Disney World at the same time. She actually stayed on. She extended her program and stayed on. She was actually the Sarah Sanderson for the Hocus Pocus when it came out, and she was it for about 3 years before like retiring. So, but yeah, it's a live singing because she had to audition and do everything for it. So
It's wild.
it's a very cool thing though.
They're so good.
Next question, Haley, this one is for you. We had a question come in. What are some of the best Halloween activities outside of the ticketed events?
Yeah, I love this question because especially if you have maybe a strict budget or you're traveling with youngsters who can't hang until, the midnight hour of these hard ticketed events, you still want to take advantage of like the fun Halloween offerings. And there really is so much to do on both sides of the country. So I myself am local to Disneyland and I'm a little bit impartial there, but there's really everything from decor and seasonal food and beverage offerings and to some fun overlays on certain attractions. I got my Nightmare Before Christmas ears on in honor of Haunted Mansion Holiday over at Disneyland Park. I mean, that is like something that you absolutely cannot miss. It's worth the 2 hour plus wait, in my opinion, that it can sometimes get up to. So there's so much to see, just like I said, in your regular day, whether you're going to enjoy the Dia de los Muertos activities and decor in Zocalo Park, over at Paradise Gardens in Disney California Adventure. They have a really great setup there with like the mariachi divas come out and have, a couple sets throughout the day. And you can also learn a lot about Dia de los Muertos if you're not familiar with that cultural celebration. The seasonal food, like I mentioned, that's also apart from the offerings at the parties, where you can get some extra exclusive offerings there that only party guests can take part of. There's really lots to see otherwise. And over at Magic Kingdom Park, Again, same thing, like there's nothing quite like that fall decor down Main Street with the Halloween themed bunting and the scarecrows. And if you have a keen eye, if you're Disney nerds like all of us here, you'll have to pay attention extra to those scarecrows because they're all dressed like cast members on Main Street, if you're not familiar with that. So definitely check those out. But really, there's so much to see. And also, over at the Disneyland Resort, I'll say one more thing you can check out that's not part of the hard ticket events is Pluto's Pumpkin Hunt. And that's really fun to do, not only, if you're not going to a hard ticket event, but if you're not going to the parks for the day and you're enjoying either your resort or the pool or downtown Disney, you can walk around without a park ticket needed and hunt for these really themed pumpkins that Pluto has strategically hidden around the resort, and you get a fun Halloween themed surprise at the end. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, they do. I feel Disneyland especially does a great job, especially with the resorts. We stayed at Grand California during Halloween time, and they had so much just in the lobby of the resort. They had treats, they had little everything for you to look at just in the lobby. So, like you said, even if you don't have a park ticket that day, there's a lot to be seen.
For sure.
Awesome. Let's see. So we had a few questions about ride times, wait times during those ticketed events. So Stephanie, I'm going to throw this one to you. The question says, are rides open during the party and are wait times shorter during the parties? Do you still need to use lightning lanes?
Yep. So as a ride enthusiast, I'm happy to say that pretty much every single ride is going to be open at both California Adventure and Magic Kingdom. And for a lot of people, myself included, one of the best things is that the times are shorter. So if you really, you want to ride a certain ride and you want to ride as many times as possible, the wait times are a lot shorter. So you can really bust through some rides. You don't need lightning lanes. In fact, they're really not even available. The exception is, I believe last year at Magic Kingdom, you still had to virtual queue for Tron. And that virtual queue, I believe, goes live at 6. So it's after all the day guests have left. So just something to remember. And that will be for later in the evening. But that's kind of the only exclusive queue that you would see during the parties. So yeah, it's a great time to get on those rides.
All right, along that same line of kind of having the schedule planned out for your ticketed event, I loved this question because this person you can tell is a planner like all of we are. They said, what's the ideal schedule for a ticketed Halloween party? Do you rush to do attractions, food first, meet characters, etc.? Alyssa, I think you had some thoughts to share on this one.
I do. So, okay, so for this, it really depends on what your family's main objective is. Are your family big ride enthusiasts? Are they more interested in the shows? Are they all about the food and beverages? So, because the food and beverages are amazing, and so they are worth splurging in and getting some. For the schedule overall, if your main objective are rides and attractions, those are going to be all the things you want to hit first, right? So do the big ticket ones, such as like Space Mountain. Tron does do the virtual queue, so you want to make sure you get the virtual queue. The biggest thing for an overall schedule is that the party is from 7 p.m. to midnight, but they do open the park you are allowed to enter into the park at 4 if you have a event ticket. So that is important to note. So the earlier you get there, the better, and to go in with a plan. And the best way to come up with a plan is with your travel agent. So we can ask you what kind of questions you want. Do you want to meet characters in their costumes? Do you want to meet villains? Do you want to just get the best spot for the parade and the fireworks and the castle show? We can help provide that, but really the ideal schedule is custom to you. So what is ideal to you as somebody that's going to Disney World?
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Taylor, are you here? There she is. Yay. Okay, I specifically picked out this question for you because I know you have a little son, and someone asked, actually there was a few questions, but someone asked any tips for doing a Halloween party with kiddos.
Yes, I love this question. So I do have a 3-year-old little boy, and you may hear him in the background. I hope not, but you just never know with him. And so I think having a good game plan for that day and really setting yourself up for success, because it is going to be a long night. One of my biggest recommendations is to make that your resort day. When you have little ones, have a relaxing resort day and really enjoy all of the amenities that your resort has to offer. and get a later in the day nap. So if you can get them to nap from like 1 to 3, that really is going to set you up for success, right? Because then you're getting up. And if you want to get into the parks right at 4 o'clock when it opens, you'll still have plenty of time to do that, but they're well rested, and you're setting yourself up for success that evening. So I think the biggest thing for having a successful party with little ones is to really just set yourself up for success that day with a relaxing day, a good solid nap a little bit later in the afternoon than they maybe would take a nap. And then really just going into the party with kind of your priorities of what you want to tackle, and having that in order so that you know where you want to go, in case they do tire out a little bit before midnight.
This question is for Arlena, and I also love this person is trying to maximize their time. They say, parties always go by so fast. How can I maximize my time?
Yes, just like Alyssa was saying, the parties don't start until 7 p.m., but you can enter the parks 2 to 3 hours before. I believe it's 2 hours before for Oogie Boogie Bash, and then 3 hours before for Mickey's Not So Scary. So definitely, I would definitely advise taking advantage of that time, because you can get some rides done if you want. You can take a peek at the merch for the Halloween party. Eat so that you don't have to worry about doing that while you're at the party, and you can like actually do party stuff during the party. And so yeah, I would just advise doing that. And then like again, just like Alyssa was saying, like focusing on what is the most important thing to you. If rides are the most important thing, then just make a plan for doing those first. I would definitely at least carve some time for entertainment, whether it's the castle show at Magic Kingdom, or one of the parades at either of the parties. And then just go with what's most important with your family. I know in Florida specifically, people go crazy for meeting Jack and Sally. And I heard like people start getting in line before the party officially starts. And so if that's something that because they are like quote unquote rare characters, if that's something that you really want to do, if you're a big fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, I would definitely like plan for doing that earlier on. I think both, I'm not sure if I can't remember if you can meet them at Oogie Boogie Bash, if anyone remembers. But anyway, I would definitely like, if there are any rare characters that you want to meet, I would definitely plan to do those first as well. So yeah, again, it depends on the priority for your family, and definitely take advantage of that early entry time.
I have a note about Jack and Sally. When it comes to meeting Jack and Sally at Disneyland, you can meet them all day in Disneyland Park. They don't do meet and greets during Oogie Boogie Bash, but they are in the parade like they are in Florida.
Thank you. Yes. I knew that.
I liked what you said about eating before the party, because I have had some clients I've suggested to do that, especially if they have a park ticket and they've already been in the parks all day during the morning, or they've been in another park and they're coming over to eat in that kind of time period when everyone's coming in and there's kind of like that, rush of the salmon with people coming both ways. To have like a dining reservation, you can eat, you can get some solid food in you, and then you can just eat candy bars for the rest of the night. Okay, perfect. Next question came in. Best Halloween activity at Disney for adults. As our self-proclaimed childless Disney millennial, Stephanie, would you like to answer this question?
Absolutely. So, honestly, I think the parties are just like a really fun way to kind of be a kid. So if you're an adult, but you will have, like you're a kid at heart, that's a really great thing about the parties, is you get to kind of, have some childlike fun. This is the only time that adults are allowed to dress up in the parks. So if you have a costume that might not normally be something you could wear to the parks, you can wear that during the Halloween parties. Also, I think we've kind of really drilled this in, but it does depend on your priorities, kind of what adults might prefer. So if you really love entertainment, like make sure you get right up front for that castle show. You get a great spot for the parade. My favorite thing is that the thrill rides like Space Mountain, or if you're at California Adventure, Guardians of the Galaxy, those have like way lower wait times, so you can really get those in. And then, you know, at Oogie Boogie Bash, you can have some adult beverages, which is always a nice little treat, which, you know, makes your party time a little bit extra fun. So, yeah, I think it's just a great time to kind of let loose and enjoy Halloween.
Disney is a state of mind, not an age.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. I know Haley touched on this a bit earlier, but I want to hear from Alyssa about some of the ride overlays. We had another question that says, what rides have special Halloween overlays? Alyssa, do you have a favorite Halloween overlay? I think we all do, but I like to ask.
Yes, I think we all do. So Disney World, so Magic Kingdom at Disney World does not actually have any special Halloween overlays for any of the rides. However, Space Mountain is fully in the dark during the party. However, Disneyland has a ton of fun ride overlays. The most popular being the Haunted Mansion, Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion overlay. That one's really cool. It goes all through Halloween and through Christmas time. In Disney's California Adventure, it also, there's like a monster overlay for Guardians of the Galaxy, which is really exciting. So those are some really great ones that you'll find.
Actually, Haley, I was going to ask you your next question. I feel like we've kind of touched on, but I wanted to see if you had anything else to add. Someone asked, if, in your opinion, how to have the perfect night at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Do you have anything that you want to add to that, like specifically, that someone hasn't said? I know that question's kind of been asked.
The only thing that I would add, because everyone said what I would say about arrive early, make a plan, do the daily ops stuff in that open window before the party starts, but also don't forget about all of the fun photo pass opportunities on both coasts at both parties. I feel like that can kind of get a little bit left in the dark, you know, so to speak, because we're focused on the really fun entertainment and, you know, going on Monsters After Dark and going on Deep Space Mountain and all of that. But definitely stop by the different PhotoPass photographers and other like photo installations they have where you can get exclusive party shots. Like I know at Magic Kingdom, they'll have multiple PhotoPass photographers working at a station where one runs behind you with a fun light and you can only see, you know, what it actually looks like once the photo is taken and developed. So that's really fun. And if you've already purchased Memory Maker, you definitely want to take advantage of that to maximize every dollar spent there. So yeah, like on Main Street, holding, you know, a lantern or doing a magic shot with the Headless Horseman at Oogie Boogie Bash. I mean, there's a lot of different exclusive PhotoPass opportunities. So make sure to check those out too.
That's a great tip. I didn't even think about Memory Maker, using Memory Maker specifically at the parties because there were so many cool pictures, but I didn't even cross my mind to use Memory Maker for your whole trip, but obviously get some awesome pictures there. That's good.
Well, I remember last year too, when I went to Oogie Boogie Bash, I was surprised to find out that Memory Maker was actually included with my ticket for that night because we didn't book it for my whole trip. And then we got there and they're like, be sure to download your party photos because they're included with your ticket, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
One piece I know we touched on a little bit, but haven't touched a ton on, is how does trick-or-treating work at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party? Tyler, I know you love to trick-or-treat, and you got the kiddos who want to trick-or-treat too.
I do. I definitely was that like 25-year-old still walking around my neighborhood. I think I was dressed as Ace Ventura, trying to get candy, and I was turned away at most doors. So it really is pretty straightforward. When you walk in, they give you a specific bag. If you have an allergy, they will give you a separate bag. It's a different color that sort of shows that it is a different, that you're going to need the allergy-friendly candy. And when you go through the trick-or-treating, you can just let them know and they'll see the bag too. So they'll give you a map. The map will have all the locations listed on it if you want to try and hit them all. But even as you're just kind of going throughout the park as you're walking through, they've got these big light up orange blow up, like they're almost like the balloon guy things, you know what I'm talking about? But they don't move. But they say like trick-or-treating on them. So you can't miss them. The locations do move a little bit. The one they had, I'm sure they're not doing it right now because it's all under construction, but the one they did that was my favorite was when you went through Country Bears. That was very cool. And so the one thing to know is that you could probably go through one and have enough Halloween candy for your entire year because they give you handfuls of candy. I know when Jessica was teaching, she literally got enough candy in that one night to fill up her like classroom candy bucket for the entire year. It was so much candy.
We had a few questions come in about Oogie Boogie Bash. It's a kind of newer event. So Bailey, can you talk a little bit about, I know you've been, and like I said, you're a SoCal resident. Can you talk a little bit about the event itself and maybe who it's for? I know because it's a newer event and like we talked a little bit about the villains that are there. There's a little bit of misconception about who can go to Oogie Boogie Bash, but I thought you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, I absolutely love Oogie Boogie Bash. I have been going since it started back in 2019. A lot of people probably know that Disneyland used to have Mickey's Halloween Party, which was pretty similar to Mickey's Not So Scary, and now California Adventure hosts Oogie Boogie Bash instead. So like we said earlier, it's very villains focused, but I think a lot of people wonder if it's scary or if families with young kids can enjoy it since there are so many Disney villains themes. And absolutely, it is still an event for all ages. It's still an event that is hosted by Disney. So as always, it will be entirely family friendly, but if you are a big fan of Disney villains, then there is no shortage of them. You can meet them in the treat trails, which is completely unique to DCA and something you can't find anywhere else. There are villains at designated meet and greet areas throughout the parks, but then they're also in that area on Buena Vista Street by Carthay Circle, and they tend to like switch them out every year. So you really don't know who you're going to meet. Last year, I was starstruck because they had Hans of the Southern Isles, which made his like Disney parks debut, and that was super awesome. But also when it comes to things for young kids, I know Arlena touched on this a little bit, but there is the Mickey's Trick and Treat dance party, which is also unique to Oogie Boogie Bash. So of course, on both coasts, there are Disney Junior dance parties during the day. But it's really cool that during this event, there is a special dance party just for the little ones. So yeah.
Thank you.
Remember they had the hag too from Snow White?
Iconic.
We were, yeah. I was like, oh
love
my
her.
gosh, I'd never see her anywhere.
You never see, that's what's so cool about it is like you get to see these villains that you literally never get to see, and you get to like actually, you know, talk to them and interact with them.
Madam Mim is an icon.
Yeah, and the it was Cruella, but from the Emma Stone version.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah,
so
and they also
good.
have Ernesto de la Cruz, which you can never see Ernesto de la Cruz at any of the parks, and he sings live. So he will sing Remember Me to the crowd live, and it's amazing. So
And then the most random of all has to be, I mean, at least for me, was the guy from Roger Rabbit. I don't know his name. It's
yeah.
Dr. something. But
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
No.
I can't remember.
The guy who puts the cartoon characters in the dip.
Yeah.
That guy?
Yeah.
And they had
The
that
goggles.
of like
Is that
of
Christopher Lloyd? I think. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's amazing.
We had a question come in, says, what age is best for kids to attend the party? The ticketed parties. Kayla, do you have any insights on this?
Yeah, so I think kind of like what we've been talking about a lot is that it really depends on your family. It depends on your kiddos. And so I always recommend to my clients to trust their gut. You know your kiddos best. And so you really have to decide at what age is it going to be a good financial commitment to add that to your trip. They are free until they're 3, which is great. So if you only want to have to worry about paying for adult tickets or for kiddos over the age of 3, I think 0 to 3 is a great time to take them because you don't have to pay for a separate ticket for them to get in. But truly, any age is a great age. You just want to make sure that, like I said, you're going to be able to have that longevity to get your money's worth, so to speak, out of the event. So trust your gut, know your kiddos, and if this is something that you really want to do, but you're not sure that they can hang, just really try to set yourself up for success that during that day, like I mentioned before, and bring one of the things that I love to do is we'll bring pajamas for our little one for evenings in the parks because they're comfy. You get them set up in their stroller, you bring their blanket. So even if they don't fall asleep, they're at least cozy and comfortable and content so that you can enjoy the party for a little bit longer.
We had a lot of questions come in asking if the ticketed events are worth the money. I think this obviously is a subjective question. Jordan, tell me about it. What do you think?
Well, obviously, both parks do a lot of different ticketed events throughout the year. Since we are talking Halloween and you're watching a Halloween event, I'm guessing you're probably into Halloween, which already puts you one step in the qualifier of this event is probably worth it for you, especially as a Disney fan and you like Disney Halloween. It's probably something you want to check out in your life. And the party tickets are pricey, especially like I mentioned, the closer you get to Halloween, they do tend to kick up in price. But I think that you can look at it from two perspectives, right? Like one is a Halloween fan, you get all of those exclusive events that you can't get during normal park hours, the snacks, the characters dressed up as other characters too, right? Like they're not all out and about all the time, which is super cool. Um, but also from a money saving perspective, while the party tickets are more expensive, in theory, like let's say you're planning a trip where you've got a 4-day park ticket and you're planning to do one day in each of the 4 parks, like we've been talking about, you can get into this event earlier in the day. So you could, in theory, take off one day of park tickets and book your Halloween party ticket for that night. So that way you're kind of spacing it out. You still get to go to all 4 parks. And then you get to enjoy the benefits of the short wait times, like especially if you really want the rides, right? Like Disney has all of these after hours events that they've been doing the past few years where those are specifically for skipping, lines, right? For all the rides. Like you pay the extra money so you get the park to yourself. And honestly, this is just kind of a similar vibe to that. Like you get the same advantage of the shorter ride times, but with a super cool Halloween theme. So I think if you like Halloween, and you like short ride times and you like exclusivity, then this is definitely something you should check out.
Okay, question said tips on how to get tickets. Tyler, do you have any tips? I know you've done a few parties. Any tips on how to get tickets?
I definitely have some tips. The very first and the most important is to work with a travel agent, because if you already have, well, there's 2 reasons for this. If you have a plan set up when the tickets go on sale, if you're at work, if you're busy, whatever, you could already have a plan set up and you could say, okay, we're going for this week. There's 3 dates while they're available. There's 3 dates that are going to be the party while they're there. You can tell your agent, I want the least expensive of those 3 dates that come up. Or you can have it so where you say, just let me know the price and then we'll have your credit card on file. Everything will be ready to go. So that way you're not in danger of it selling out before you actually get the chance to get online and get it, because your agent will be ready the day it goes on sale. So have a plan in place with your agent. They do sell out. They didn't used to sell out, but over the last 2 years, Mickey's Not So Scary completely sold out. Like we said, Oogie Boogie sold out within like 30 minutes. Not that bad, but it was very fast. So you want to make sure that you're booked through an agent so that it's ready to go. Also, in the past, at least in Walt Disney World, I don't know about Disneyland, but in Disney World, in the past, they've done it where resort guests have early access to the tickets. So they don't, do they not do that in California? Okay, so they've done that in the past. It doesn't mean that they're going to do it in the future, but they have done that. So that's another reason to have your everything else booked and ready to go, and then have a plan with your agent by the time it comes on. Now, they do sell out in Walt Disney World. They don't usually sell out right away. Last year, none of the parties sold out till about June. And then I think by August, like half of them were sold out. And then by September, all of them were sold out. So you had a little bit of time to get your tickets, but the earlier you get them, the better chance you're going to get the dates that you want. You can find the least expensive party for your travel dates. So again, get with your agent, have everything in place, have a plan, and then you can be ready to go when they do go live. Now, when it comes to Oogie Boogie Bash in California, it is a totally different beast. And so with that, you're probably going to talk with your agent, and you're going to probably book those tickets on your own, most likely. But what they can do is they can walk you through the steps, what it's going to look like, the best chances of getting those tickets, as far as having your computer on the right thing and having all these. So we've got lots of tips and tricks, but because it does sell out so quickly, you might be booking those on your own, but your agent can still help you. They'll be there via text, via email to try and help you. And before it even goes on sale, we'll have a plan in place that will help assure that you get the tickets that you want.
These events do happen, rain or shine, and especially if you're going to a party in Florida, there's pros and cons, like Jordan mentioned, with choosing when you want to travel and what night you specifically want to go to the party. Because if you want to take advantage of earlier in the season, little bit lower cost other than the opening night. Opening night is going to be like regular Halloween night prices. You do have a higher likelihood of it raining out. I think for the past like 2 years or something, like the first 2 weeks of the party, like they all had rain. And so you're not going to necessarily get a refund or anything like that. And you might have a little bit less entertainment, like the parade being, subject to weather and the fireworks being subject to weather. In Southern California, there's a little bit less risk of that, but it's never totally out of the question. And in Florida, they will try their best to like shoot fireworks off because it's a lot easier for them to do that just with the amount of space they have. But just keep that in mind, especially in August and September, you might be covering your costume in a poncho, and that's okay, but just be prepared for it.
That is a very good point. Yes, you're right.
Next question. Okay, we talked a little bit about rides earlier. So we had, this is gonna be a two-part question. It said, are the ride lines shorter than daytime? And also, Haley, I want to see, what are your favorite rides to hit specifically during these ticketed parties? Like, what are your must-dos?
Oh, that's a good question because I'm definitely an entertainment girly and I like to prioritize characters and shows and things like that. But like some of our, other agents here were saying, a lot of these rides do have a lot shorter lines during the parties than during normal park operations. Some of those that have like a special overlay, there is a chance that they could be a little bit higher. So I would definitely heed advice of my, colleagues here that said to prioritize those first if you want to check out like Deep Space Mountain and Monsters After Dark, all those things. But yeah, like if you want to, hit up Peter Pan's Flight at Not So Scary because it's always 90 minutes during the day for some reason, that might, have a lower weight during a party. So those are definitely good ones to check out. My personal favorite, I mean, that's so hard because really at all of these events, like I said, I tend to be more of the entertainment offering. So I would say though, when I come in early, in that 3 to 4 p.m. window, based on whatever party I'm attending, I do like to hit up Tomorrowland as one of my favorite areas. So I'm trying to get on Space Mountain. I'm trying to get on, Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger Spin, and some of those during the party. So then I can prioritize my time and maximize that when the party is actually started for parade shows, trick-or-treating, things like that. And over in California, again, during that time period before the party actually starts, I'm definitely in Cars Land. I'm hitting up everything with what they call honkin' Halloween, if you catch the pun there. So I'm at Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, checking out the Halloween songs that Mater has overlay with his ride, and over at Luigi's. I'm trying to go single rider on Radiator Springs Racers to get that wait time down a little bit more. So that's where I'm definitely spending a lot of that time from an attraction standpoint before Oogie Boogie Bash.
There are 2 parade times at both of the parties, so that's something to keep in mind when you're planning your party and how you're going to use your time.
And that it's a good point, Arlena, with the parades, because a lot of people will try to clamor for their spot at the first parade. But if you can hang out, till the very end of the party, that second parade, you're going to be able to pretty much walk up, 10 minutes before showtime and get a really great spot.
All right, Miss Martha, we had a question come in. I wanted to hear your thoughts. What are your 3 must-do things at Halloween time at Disney?
So my 3 must-do things are actually all at Mickey's Not So Scary. Meeting the rare characters. They have characters that they don't have out during the day or sometimes out during the whole year. And a lot of times you can meet 2 characters at once, which that in itself is kind of rare and you can do only at certain events. The other thing is the overlays on certain rides. So there's an overlay on Space Mountain usually and like a little extra theming on the teacups. And the events that they have at Mickey's Not So Scary. So the parade, the fireworks, and the castle show. Those are all must-dos for me. So overall, I think the main one is Mickey's Not So Scary is my favorite part of Halloween time at Disney.
Next question, which I know is a common misconception, even though the name of the event is Not So Scary. Are there anything scary that happens in the Halloween ticketed events or at Disney in general during Halloween? Arlena, what are your thoughts?
Yes. So there's nothing, definitely nothing gory or anything like that. It's not Halloween Horror Nights like at Universal, which is a whole different topic. They're both Oogie Boogie Bash and Mickey's Not So Scary are very family friendly events. I think a good rule of thumb, if you're unsure, is if your kids can handle a haunted mansion, they can probably handle the party pretty well. There's villains. There might be some like darker, like dark rides and stuff like that. Or like Space Mountain being darker and all that. But if you have kids that might be a little scared of villains or anything like that, then that's something to consider. But nothing like I said, nothing gory, nothing like truly scary. It's all very cute Halloween.
That is a great rule of thumb. If they can handle Haunted Mansion, they can probably handle the party. That I've never heard it put like that, but that's
Yes.
good.
It's the Haunted Mansion Richter scale.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now I know Kayla wanted to talk about this because she loves to do Halloween at Disney, but I know you've got a little one, so sometimes those ticketed events do not quite make it. Those times get really late. I've got a son as well. He can't stay up that late. So Kayla, what are some of the things that you guys love to do in place of those ticketed events that still give you the magic of Disney at Halloween?
Yeah, so in Walt Disney World specifically, we really like to do Minnie's Halloween Dine at Hollywood and Vine. So all of the characters are dressed up in their Halloween best, and it's just a neat kind of overlay for as a dining option. If you are looking to meet characters in their Halloween garb, that can be really fun over at Hollywood Studios. The other thing that we really enjoy doing are the Halloween activity boards at each of the Walt Disney World resorts. So there are some amazing activities that your resort will put on during the day for your kiddos. These can include crafts and games, and specifically during the fall season, they are Halloween themed. So I always recommend that my clients check out the activity board. It's usually located in the lobby or near the main pool. And if you kind of want to get an idea of what that looks like ahead of time, because they aren't posted anywhere on any Disney official websites, I recommend joining some of the resort Facebook groups, because periodically guests who are currently staying there will take pictures of the activity boards, screenshot them, and post them so that you can kind of take a look and plan in advance those activities for your little ones to do.
Little kids love crafts. You can get a free craft anywhere.
A free craft that you don't have to clean up.
Oh, yeah. leave the glitter at the Disney resorts. They can clean it up. All right. Last question, which I think is a good one. Are all the parks decorated for Halloween? Martha, take it away.
Sure. So at Walt Disney World, they are not. Only Magic Kingdom is decorated for Halloween. If you go to Disneyland in California, you'll find that both parks, Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure, are decorated for Halloween. But you'll have the decorations for a lot less time at Disneyland versus at Disney World. It's only Magic Kingdom, but it's usually from like beginning to mid-August all the way through Halloween.
Thank you so much, everyone, for submitting your questions. I'm so glad that we got to chat through all of them. I love hearing everyone's thoughts, and I'm so glad that we were able to share. So I'm going to throw it back to Miss Haley. She's going to wrap us up this afternoon, talk a little bit about using a travel agent, because I think it's just I'm biased, but I think it's just such a must-do for your trip. And then we will leave you to your day. So Miss Haley, all you.
Yeah, thanks, Cheyenne. And thanks again, everybody, for all the questions. I think we covered lots of great, thought starters for planning your trip. And so when continuing in that theme, I'll echo Cheyenne and say I'm a little bit biased as well, but I think using a travel agent, especially for, a Halloween time visit to any of the Disney parks and beyond is great. And really, like we say on here, the short answer is definitely not scary to work with a travel agent if you haven't before. We're really here to make your vacation as seamless as possible. We've got tons of experience, all of us here on this panel and the rest of our team as well, who wasn't able to join today, has a lot of firsthand experience being in the parks ourselves. We have some former cast members as well. So we've got a lot of things that we can give you, curated advice and tips based upon your specific wants, needs, and what your family really wants to enjoy. We also can help you out, like Tyler mentioned, with some of those magical extras, like helping you get tickets to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, booking any of the dining reservations. I'm definitely putting the Minnie's Halloween Dine on my list, for my toddler. Thanks for that reminder, Kayla. So we can help you out, really as much or as little as you want. And the really best part, I think, about all of this is it's all free to you. We earn our commissions directly from Disney when we're planning these vacations for you. So there's no additional cost to work with us. If you have any questions or need any other specific help, understanding about working with a travel agent, I know Tyler's got some videos answering some FAQs about that, but feel free to shoot us a comment down below, shoot us another email, and we can definitely give you more information if you're still, on the fence at all. And speaking of that, we would, really love to help you plan your Halloween trip this year, next year, beyond, if you're just starting to kind of figure out what's going to be best for your family. So follow us across all of our, social media channels. You can sign up for our newsletter as well. And you can at any point in time submit a request for a totally free, no obligation quote, and we'll connect you with one of the agents here or other team members to get started.
All right, thanks everyone for joining us, and keep your eye on this YouTube channel because we're coming out with more content, so we can't wait to see you. So thanks everyone. Happy Halloween.